Tonight I want to pay special attention to a friend of mine, Taraji P Henson. You are truly amazing. You told me that I reminded you of someone. Your father. I wish he could be here to see you today. And if I could be so bold as to speak for him. Listen to me, TJ. You have made my heart glad.
Shock. Terrence Howard recently declared war on Oprah in defense of his longtime friend, Taraji P Henson. It is known that Taraji is in the midst of a Hollywood boycott, and the leader of this conspiracy is none other than the infamous Oprah mogul. To prove his friendship, Terrence Howard has gone to great lengths to send his special warning to Oprah. Let's follow this unequal battle. Terrence Howard has found himself in the middle of a heated and complex situation involving his longtime friend Taraji P Henson and media mogul Oprah Winfrey. The tension between these powerful figures recently intensified after Howard issued a strong warning to Oprah, advising her to stay away from Taraji. This comes on the heels of reports that Taraji was blackballed in Hollywood, particularly due to her outspoken criticism of pay inequality and the harsh treatment she faced while working on the film The Color Purple. According to various sources, the bad blood between Terrence and Oprah stems from a secret feud that has been simmering beneath the surface for years, one that allegedly began after Howard revealed details of a clandestine affair between him and Oprah, a revelation that allegedly led to Oprah using her influence to effectively blacklist him from significant roles in the industry. To understand the root of the current conflict, it's crucial to examine the recent fallout over The Color Purple. Taraji, who had been a passionate advocate for equal pay and better working conditions, reportedly felt disrespected and undervalued while working on the film. She made headlines for calling out the disparity in pay between her and other cast members, as well as the toxic environment she endured behind the scenes. Her willingness to speak truth to power did not sit well with certain influential figures, and according to insiders, Oprah and the producers of The Color Purple took her remarks personally. Taraji's vocal criticisms were, in their eyes, a direct affront to the film, and they blamed her for the movie's subsequent struggles at the box office. These insiders claim that in response to Taraji's so-called rants, Oprah and the film's producers made the decision to effectively blacklist her, ensuring that her career would be negatively impacted. The whispers of a Hollywood conspiracy against Taraji were enough to enrage Howard, who has always been vocal in his support for his friend. The two actors share a close bond, having worked together for years, most notably on the hit TV series Empire, where their on-screen chemistry as Cookie and Lucius Lyon became legendary. In light of their history, it's not surprising that Howard would come to Taraji's defense so fiercely. Terrence Howard has never been one to shy away from controversy or confrontation, especially when it comes to defending those he believes have been wronged by Hollywood elites. His recent clash with Oprah Winfrey over her alleged blackballing of Taraji P Henson is just the latest in a series of battles he's fought against the powerful mogul. Remarkably, this isn't the first time Howard has found himself in Oprah's crosshairs. A few years ago, he took a similar stand when another actress and comedian, Mo'Nique, publicly accused Oprah of blackballing her, reigniting an ongoing feud between Mo'Nique and several prominent figures in the entertainment industry. Mo'Nique, an Oscar-winning actress, famously called Oprah out, along with Tyler Perry and Lee Daniels, for allegedly contributing to her being blacklisted in Hollywood. Despite her undeniable talent and accolades, Mo'Nique's career took a significant hit after she spoke out against the exploitation and underappreciation she experienced in the industry, specifically surrounding her work on the film Precious. Though Mo'Nique's outspokenness rubbed many the wrong way, she found an unlikely ally in Terrence Howard. Howard, knowing firsthand what it feels like to be marginalized in the industry, stood by Mo'Nique, defending her and backing her claims about the dark underbelly of Hollywood power dynamics. What made Howard's support for Mo'Nique so intriguing was that, despite his own controversial past, he was willing to take a stand against one of the most powerful figures in the industry, Oprah Winfrey. Oprah, often regarded as untouchable due to her immense influence and media empire, has long been seen as a gatekeeper in Hollywood, with the power to make or break careers. For someone like Howard, who has had his own share of troubles, both professionally and personally, taking on someone of Oprah's stature is no small feat. But Terrence Howard is no stranger to controversy. His career, though marked by brilliant performances in films like Hustle and Flow and the TV series Empire, has been overshadowed by a litany of personal issues and scandals. Howard's reputation in Hollywood took a nosedive due to his problematic behavior, particularly in his relationships. He has been accused of domestic violence multiple times and has faced numerous legal battles over the years. His personal life has often been characterized by tumultuous marriages, bitter divorces, and troubling allegations of violence and manipulation. In addition to these issues, Howard has made headlines for expressing controversial views, particularly about women, that many have found problematic. These controversies have led to Howard being labeled as toxic by some, and for a period, he found himself slipping out of the spotlight. The industry, which often distances itself from figures caught up in personal scandals, seemed to turn its back on Howard, and his career suffered as a result. He became less visible in mainstream media, and the roles he once thrived in became scarce. In addition, Terrence Howard's history of domestic violence has been a dark shadow over his career, first coming to light in 2001 when he was arrested for assaulting his then-wife, Lori McComas. According to court documents, the incident was violent and disturbing. Following a heated argument over the phone, Howard reportedly broke down the front door of Lori's house and slapped her twice in front of their children. This physical altercation was a stark reminder of the troubling dynamics that often underpinned their tumultuous relationship. Howard's violent outburst was not an isolated event, and it set the tone for a series of similarly troubling incidents in his personal life. Despite the public fallout from the 2001 arrest, Howard continued to struggle with anger management issues and controlling his behavior in romantic relationships. After divorcing Lori, Howard remarried in 2010, this time to Michelle Gent, a relationship that quickly devolved into another whirlwind of violence, accusations, and public scrutiny. The marriage to Gent lasted only a year, but it ended in a bitter and highly publicized divorce. Michelle Gent accused Howard of domestic violence, alleging that he had assaulted her during their short-lived marriage. In the aftermath of their breakup, Gent filed for a restraining order, claiming that Howard had been physically abusive. One of the most shocking pieces of evidence was when Michelle showed up to court with a noticeable black eye, which she attributed to an attack by Howard. This visual representation of the violence became a focal point in the public's perception of Howard, casting a long shadow over his career and personal reputation. Howard vehemently denied Gent's allegations, insisting that he had not intentionally harmed her. In his 2015 cover story with Rolling Stone, Howard attempted to address the various allegations of domestic violence that had plagued his relationships. When asked about the incident with Lori McComas in 2001, Howard admitted to losing control, stating, "She was talking to me real strong, and I lost my mind and slapped her in front of the kids." His admission was a rare moment of public acknowledgement, though his description of the event suggested a sense of justification for his actions, something that has troubled many observers. His use of the phrase, "talking to me real strong," implies that he felt provoked, a common narrative used by those accused of domestic violence to deflect blame onto the victim. Howard's explanation of the incident with Michelle Gent was equally troubling. He claimed that the physical altercation arose from self-defense, insisting that Gent had attempted to mace him. "She was trying to mace me, and you can't see anything, so all you can do is try to push someone away," Howard recounted. He then added, "I think something caught her, but I wasn't trying to hit her." Howard's language in this account minimized his responsibility for the violence. framing it as an accidental consequence of self-defense rather than a deliberate attack. This narrative, however, did little to assuage public concerns about his history of violence toward women, particularly given the pattern of behavior that had emerged across multiple relationships. Despite Terrence Howard's troubled past and controversial personal life, he remains a figure that many people continue to take seriously, particularly because of the thought-provoking and often contentious revelations he has made about Hollywood's treatment of black men. Over the years, Howard has voiced concerns about how black masculinity is portrayed in the entertainment industry, accusing Hollywood elites of attempting to emasculate black men in both subtle and overt ways. These statements, which have resonated with certain audiences, highlight a deeper discussion about race, gender, and representation in media. One of Howard's most striking comments came when he criticized the industry for what he described as an agenda to weaken or diminish the image of black men. He expressed frustration at the way masculinity is portrayed on screen, particularly the imbalance he saw between how white men and black men are allowed to be depicted. "With the new formula," Howard once said, "most men are made to be effeminate and not have their power or sense of strength. They allow white men to be strong, but not black men." His words suggest a belief that Hollywood intentionally sidelines the traditional image of black male strength in favor of more palatable portrayals that conform to stereotypes or diminish their authority. Howard's observations tap into a broader conversation about the representation of black men in popular culture. For decades, black actors have struggled with limited and often harmful character types, from the hyper-aggressive brute to the comic relief sidekick, rarely being allowed to inhabit roles that convey complexity, vulnerability, or strength in equal measure. Howard's criticism reflects his belief that this trend has worsened in recent years, particularly as Hollywood has attempted to navigate evolving social norms around gender and identity. When Howard spoke of Hollywood's preference for effeminate men, he was touching on a point of contention for many who feel that mainstream media has shifted toward more androgynous portrayals of masculinity. Howard stated, "The more successful men now are the effeminate ones." His comments reveal a discomfort with the way that men, particularly black men, are depicted as lacking traditional markers of strength and authority. This idea, that black men are being stripped of their masculinity, resonates with those who believe that Hollywood, in an attempt to be more inclusive or progressive, has instead flattened the complexity of black male identity. One of the most vocal figures to bring this issue to light was comedian Dave Chappelle. Chappelle, who had a massive following due to his hit show, Chappelle's Show, was known for his fearless comedic style and ability to push boundaries. However, in 2005, at the height of his success, Chappelle shocked fans and industry insiders alike when he walked away from a $50 million deal with Comedy Central and abruptly fled to South Africa. His departure was so sudden that even his closest friends and family were left in the dark, leading to widespread speculation about his mental state and whether he was struggling with deeper issues related to the pressures of fame. Chappelle eventually resurfaced, and in one of his most candid and memorable interviews, he appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show to explain what had led to his decision to leave Hollywood behind. In that interview, Chappelle provided insight into the internal conflict he felt as a black man working in an industry that at times seemed intent on stripping away his sense of self and identity. Oprah probed Chappelle about the reasons for his sudden departure, asking him pointed questions about what was going through his mind when he decided to leave everything behind. "So, you got up and walked out? And nobody knew where you were going? Did your family know?" Oprah asked, her tone a mix of curiosity and concern. Chappelle's response was as nonchalant as it was surprising. "Well, no. I called my brother. Me and my brother are really cool. I called him up and I was like, I'm going to Africa, and he's like, cool, man, it's good." Oprah, pressing further, asked, "Did your wife and children know where you were going?" "No," Chappelle replied. No, nobody knew. I bounced. This brief exchange highlighted just how serious Chappelle was about distancing himself from the pressures of Hollywood, even if it meant disappearing without a word to his wife and children. For Chappelle, the decision to leave wasn't simply about walking away from the money. It was about reclaiming his sense of autonomy and dignity in an industry that often tries to mold people, especially black men, into something they're not. Dave Chappelle's bombshell revelation about being asked to wear a dress while shooting a movie with Martin Lawrence might sound far-fetched to some, but it highlights a recurring issue in Hollywood that has been quietly scrutinized for years. During his interview on The Oprah Winfrey Show, Chappelle connected the dots between his own experience and a broader trend where black male actors are frequently asked to emasculate themselves by wearing dresses in movies, often for comedic purposes. This trend, Chappelle argued, seemed far from coincidental. In recounting the specific moment during his time working on a film with Martin Lawrence, Chappelle gave viewers a glimpse into what happens behind the scenes in Hollywood when creative decisions are made. He described walking into his trailer and finding a dress waiting for him, along with a directive from the producers that he was expected to wear it for a scene in which Martin Lawrence's character escapes from jail by disguising himself as a prostitute. This was presented to Chappelle as a hilarious moment, but he didn't see it that way. Chappelle's immediate reaction was one of discomfort. He recalled that something about the request didn't sit right with him, especially given the pattern he had noticed throughout the industry. He had already seen numerous examples of prominent black actors, men like Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, and Tyler Perry, who had donned dresses for comedic roles. For Chappelle, it was not just about a funny scene. It was about something larger. He began to connect the dots, asking himself why this seemed to be a requirement for so many black male actors. "I'm a conspiracy theorist to a degree," Chappelle admitted during the interview. "I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected. But when I see that every black man in movies wears a dress at some point in their career, I start connecting those dots." Despite insistence from the writers and director, Chappelle held his ground, refusing to compromise his integrity for a gag that felt disingenuous to him. The production team eventually relented, rewriting the scene without the dress, but the pressure was evident. This experience underscored a larger issue Chappelle had been observing for years: the way black male actors were often reduced to roles that undermined their masculinity in the name of humor. Chappelle's refusal wasn't an isolated incident. It touched on a long-standing Hollywood pattern that many black entertainers had experienced, though few had spoken out about it. In his view, asking black men to wear dresses on screen was part of a broader agenda to weaken the image of black masculinity, reducing them to stereotypes that the mainstream could digest and laugh at. For Chappelle, this was about more than just refusing a costume. It was about protecting the dignity and strength of black men in an industry that had a history of misrepresenting them. His principled stand would later resonate with others in Hollywood who felt similarly but had yet to voice their frustrations. This conversation about integrity and standing up against systemic pressures in Hollywood echoed in other high-profile conflicts, particularly when it came to actress and comedian Mo'Nique's battle against powerful industry figures like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels. Mo'Nique, who had won an Oscar for her role in Precious, publicly accused the trio of blackballing her after she refused to aggressively promote the film without adequate compensation. Her refusal to play the Hollywood game left her on the outside, struggling to secure major roles despite her critical success. Mo'Nique didn't stay quiet about this injustice and instead called out Oprah, Perry, and Daniels for their roles in sidelining her career. At a time when Mo'Nique was facing immense backlash from Hollywood elites, few celebrities were willing to support her openly. The entertainment industry is notoriously tight-knit, and speaking out against powerful figures like Oprah or Tyler Perry was seen as career suicide. However, Terrence Howard, who was still a star on Lee Daniels' hit show Empire, was one of the few to publicly stand by Mo'Nique. Despite the fact that his own job might be at risk for going against his show's creator, Howard didn't hesitate to voice his support. Terrence's backing of Monique was significant, as it showed a willingness to challenge the power dynamics in Hollywood that often silence dissent. He firmly believed that Monique had every right to speak out about the way she had been treated, and he wasn't afraid to let the world know it. "Everybody's got a right to speak what's on their mind," Howard said. "She's got an Oscar from it, and she's still an amazing actor and comedian. No hard feelings. No, it shouldn't be." His statement was a show of solidarity in an industry where alliances and professional relationships often mean more than standing up for what's right. Terrence Howard's latest call-out of Oprah Winfrey underscores a brewing conflict in Hollywood, particularly concerning the treatment of black actors and the patterns of retaliation that have emerged against those who dare to speak out, Howard's support for his longtime friend Taraji P Henson has reached a boiling point, particularly in light of recent developments regarding the film The Color Purple. Following reports that the film had flopped at the box office, the narrative quickly shifted to blame Henson for the failure, prompting Howard to publicly defend her and criticize Oprah's apparent complicity in this industry scheme. Taraji and Terrence share a close friendship that dates back years, and Howard's willingness to defend her is a testament to their bond. This dynamic is crucial, especially considering that both actors have experienced the harsh realities of Hollywood's competitive landscape. As news emerged that Oprah had met with executives from Warner Brothers to discuss how to manage the fallout from The Color Purple, the tone shifted. Reports suggested that the executives felt Taraji's outspoken comments during the film's promotional tour were damaging, allegedly derailing efforts to market the movie effectively. They viewed her as a distraction, with insiders claiming she turned what should have been a collective promotional effort into a personal narrative about her struggles as an aging and underpaid actress. The fallout was swift, and the consequences were dire for Taraji. According to a source who spoke to Media Takeout, the Warner Brothers executives expressed their frustration with Oprah for allowing the situation to spiral out of control, with discussions of blackballing Taraji as a warning to other black actors about the dangers of speaking out. This was a particularly chilling development, considering the implications it could have for an entire generation of actors who might fear repercussions for being vocal about their experiences in an industry that has historically marginalized their voices. The similarities between Taraji's situation and that of Monique are striking and not lost on Howard. He had previously supported Monique during her tumultuous fallout with Oprah and the Hollywood establishment after she accused them of blackballing her for refusing to promote Precious without adequate compensation. Monique's story resonated with many in the industry who have faced similar ostracism, and Howard recognized the potential for history to repeat itself with Taraji. Howard's warning to Oprah, suggesting that she should back off or risk exposure, highlights the tension between these powerful figures in Hollywood. For Howard, it is not just about defending his friend. It's about taking a stand against a system that seeks to silence those who dare to speak out. He recognizes the pattern of retribution that can follow when black actors become too outspoken, and he is determined to prevent Taraji from facing the same fate as Monique. Many were taken aback when Howard publicly called out Oprah for allegedly blackballing Taraji P Henson, especially since he once spoke fondly about his time with Oprah after they co-starred in The Butler. Their reported fling in 2013 had been shrouded in secrecy, but Howard's candid reflections on their relationship have reignited discussions about the dynamics between powerful figures in Hollywood. During various interviews, Howard didn't shy away from expressing his admiration for Oprah, describing their connection in deeply personal terms. "What I and Oprah shared, we looked into each other's eyes, and I saw the little girl in her," he said, emphasizing that he perceived a vulnerability beneath her public persona. "I didn't see the veneer of Oprah that everybody else sees. I saw the woman Oprah. It was the most beautiful thing I've done in my life." This glowing account seemed to suggest a level of intimacy that could have led to a romantic relationship. adding complexity to the current tensions between the two. However, Oprah was reportedly furious when Howard made these revelations public. As a media mogul who has built a career on a carefully curated image of professionalism and respectability, any suggestion of impropriety could threaten her carefully maintained brand. This tension between them has lingered ever since, leading many to speculate that the fallout from their fling might be influencing Howard's current willingness to confront Oprah over her treatment of Taraji. The implications of Howard's recent remarks are significant, especially considering the existing rumors that he may possess more damaging information about Oprah from their time together. The potential for Howard to spill the tea on Oprah adds another layer to the ongoing drama surrounding Taraji, as it raises questions about what might happen if Oprah doesn't cease her alleged blackballing campaign. The stakes are high, and Howard's willingness to confront Oprah publicly suggests that he feels a moral obligation to defend his friend, even if it means putting his own career at risk. On social media, the reactions to Howard's outspokenness have been varied and intense. Many users have rallied behind Taraji, expressing support for her and emphasizing that she deserves fair compensation for her work. One user commented, "That's what Oprah gets. She thought she could get away with not paying actors what they were worth. Karma." This comment encapsulates a broader sentiment among many who believe that Hollywood has a long history of exploiting actors, particularly those from marginalized backgrounds, and that the industry must be held accountable for its actions. Others have expressed concern for Taraji's future, fearing that the ongoing conflict might have lasting repercussions on her career. I hope this doesn't affect Taraji's career. She's a great actress and I love her movies. She deserves top dollar like everyone else, another commenter noted, emphasizing the need for equitable treatment in Hollywood. This collective concern highlights the fragility of success in the entertainment industry, particularly for Black actors who often find themselves navigating complex power dynamics. What do you think about Terrence's warning? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.